Good evening and welcome back to the Rory Talks Football YouTube channel. Welcome back to the Arsenal Transfer Room Live. It is a Friday evening. The week is complete. The weekend is here and there is plenty going on. Some of it good, some of it bad. Some of the fan base is in complete meltdown. I am physically melting down in the heat, but I appreciate so many of you being here already. If we could, early doors, click the like button, click the subscribe button. They are both free and they both massively help me out. We're on the way to 21,000 subscribers. And let's get going with it. Lukey's here, Hyper Protagonist, Eli Pendry, Baxter, Andrew, good to see you. Who else is in here? Let me scroll back to the top for the early ones. Ethan Udall was here, Zach Gunner, Jim Heat, VV Vlad, I Heats. It is good to see you all. I hope you're doing well. Obviously, yesterday, it might be hat weather. It might be hat weather. We'll see how we get on. Kieran's finally made a stream. You'll love to see it. Fishy Boopkin said, appreciate the membership, whoever sent it. Well, yesterday it could have been Stefan, it could have been Sonny, it could have been Steve. They were all dropping the love yesterday, but it is good to see so many green names in the chat. By the way, I'm working on making some emojis that the members can use. So there will be something that you get to do as a member. Yesterday on the Cannon podcast, Lee Gunner brigaded the chat with his... look, it is what it is. Hopefully we get none of that here. North London forever if Gyokeres gets a Here We Go on stream. Maybe. I'll tell you what, if we get a Here We Go on stream... I mean, yesterday evening we got the Here We Go off stream for Noni Madueke. So we will start there. We'll start with Noni Madueke today. Look, I understand that it is a heated discussion at the moment and, you know, we'll navigate through it. Also, Rory, I only call you the worst YouTuber as a joke. Please don't ban me. Nid, I appreciate it. I did see it as a joke. Emilio, good to see you. So look, this is where we're at with Noni Madueke. iHeats has given €10. Unbelievable. Waiting for that Gyokeres bomber. Yeah, me too. I think it's close. I'll be honest with you, personal opinion. We will get into it. I think it's close. But iHeats, thank you very, very much for the €10. It is indeed iHeats. iHeats as well. Fabrizio Romano, though, today saying this, Arsenal and Chelsea have now completed all documents in exchange for Noni Madueke deal. Agreement sealed. Madueke will undergo his medical over the weekend and then sign a 5-year deal at Arsenal. 52 million done deal as exclusively revealed yesterday. He's actually left Chelsea's camp, unsurprisingly. Obviously, they've got a final coming up, but when you've already signed for another club, your head's not in the game. He wasn't going to play. So he is on his way to Arsenal to do a medical. I assume that'll be in London. But that is it. We have signed him. Sky Sports are reporting that the breakdown of the 52 million, because the 52 million is including add-ons. Sky Sports are reporting that it is 48 million fixed with just 4 million in add-ons. Now, I would take it with a pinch of salt because it is Sky Sports. Sky Sports originally were saying, I think, that Norgard was like 15 million, which wasn't true. If it is true, I think 48 million fixed and 4 million in add-ons is bad. I mean, I think 52 million is bad. I was hoping against all hope that 52 million would be something like 35 million fixed and 17 in add-ons or something like that. Maybe that was me being a bit hopeful. 48 plus 4 would be pretty crazy. The only other thing I can hope for, and I mean, I say I hope for, it makes no difference to me. It's not coming out of my pocket, but the structure, if the structure is like, you know, 10 million a year over multiple installments, and that makes it easier for us to go and do another deal this summer, maybe I get it. Look, the one thing I will say is this. There's been huge backlash, especially over the price, especially over the fact that we are seemingly helping Chelsea. Chelsea needed to make this sale. We didn't need to make this purchase right now. Like, realistically, Madueke is going on holiday for the next 3 weeks. Like, there is zero real benefit in terms of squad building for us to have done this deal now. So we have undoubtedly done this to help Chelsea out. The assumption has to be that as a result of it, they have given us a good deal. That has to be the assumption. The only other assumption, genuinely, is that Chelsea have images of Arteta and Stan Kroenke doing things that they shouldn't have been doing. Like, I don't understand it otherwise. Because even if it was a deal that we were like keen on, we could have waited and negotiated exactly the same way that we are with Gyokeres instead of going forward. So I have to assume that there was something valuable in it for us. And look, to be honest, I'm going to make a separate video on the Madueke signing, why I think we've done it, trying to take the positives from it, trying to rationalize it a little bit. One thing I would say today is this. Did I agree with the signing at that price? No. Right? Made it very clear. We were all here. We've been here on the last couple of streams. Don't agree with the signing at that price. Will I now back Noni Madueke? Yes. He's an Arsenal player. He'll be wearing an Arsenal shirt. There is zero benefit to trying to tear down Noni Madueke now. Right? So I will support him. I will back him. I will hype him up. Because for me, and this is a personal thing, but for me, that's the way you support your club. You're not always going to agree with signings. I never agreed with the Jorginho signing at the time. I got that completely wrong. And I loved supporting him. So today we've seen graffiti. Obviously graffitiing over the murals. Arteta out, stuff like that. Look, I disagree with that. I think North Banksy, the guy that actually does them, put a huge amount of effort into them. I think the tunnel looks great. I think graffitiing over it is wrong. But fundamentally, I think calling people toxic positivity or whatever, like insulting people because they're making the choice that they just want to support an Arsenal player, even if they disagree with it. I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of that. Let people do what they want to do. Josh, thank you very much for becoming a new member. Shout out to you. Welcome to the Rory Talks Football YouTube membership club. You have a green name, and I appreciate the support. And Tom has been a member for 4 months. Absolutely incredible support from Tom. He says, have a feeling Noni will be good for us, to be honest. Now on to Eze and Rodrigo. Exactly. We move on. We hope that Madueke turns out excellently. If he doesn't, we will be critical of it, undoubtedly, in the same way that we are critical of Fabio Vieira as a signing that didn't work out for the money that we paid. And that's it, you know? We don't even know what the plan for Madueke is right now. So you can't judge it until the end of the window, and even then you can't judge it until you see how he performs for Arsenal. I am frustrated with it. I get everyone else's frustration with it, but what do you know? There's nothing you can do now. There's nothing you can do now. So we move on. Someone said something. Rory, I'm seeing Spanish in the nose saying Arsenal are interested in Jackson. I can't crash out twice in 48 hours. Yeah, look, if we go for Jackson, I'll be flabbergasted, to be quite honest with you. That would be the one where I don't know what I'd do. But if we went for Jackson, like, I don't even know where we'd play him. I don't think he's better than Kai Havertz. That would be crazy. But we're not going to talk about it. The thing is, it's an easy thing to link now as well. It's an easy thing to link because of what we've done. John, thank you very much for the £2. Wages low. Madueke and Eze is cheaper than Rodrigo. Yes. And look, my personal opinion was that I would rather have done Rodrigo alone than Eze and Madueke. Personally, I think it was more important to massively upgrade the left wing spot, which I believe Rodrigo would do. So that would have been my solution. But I get going for Madueke and Eze. You get more depth that way. You've still got cover off the left. That's how it is. Any examples of players that Arteta resurrected? Kai Havertz, for me. Like, that's straight off the bat. I think Kai Havertz has done far better at Arsenal than people thought he would have done. Yeah. Sounds like clickbait. Yeah, I think so. If I wanted to bait Arsenal fans into reacting to a post or clicking on a link, I would link Arsenal to Nicholas Jackson right now. That's what I would do. So I would imagine that's what it is. Moving on, we might come back to the Madueke conversation a little bit later, but there is other stuff to talk about. Victor Gyokeres. Now, David Ornstein said this today. Victor Gyokeres does not intend to report for pre-season at Sporting Lisbon amid Arsenal's pursuit. The 27-year-old was required to join the squad on Saturday. I think they were actually half hoping he'd turn up today, which is already a week beyond when everyone else went back. He was already given a week-long extension. But they officially told him he had to be back by tomorrow. He won't be doing that, and he will not play for the club again. 5-year Arsenal deal ready, subject to a fee being agreed. He then, in the article, went on to say, Victor Gyokeres feels betrayed, and he believes that Varandas, the sporting president, has reneged on a pact to let him go for 60 million euros plus 10 million euros in add-ons, which Arsenal have already surpassed. Still no agreement in place on a fee. So ultimately, Victor Gyokeres and his camp were told 60 million euros plus 10 million euros in add-ons, you can go. Arsenal now, I believe, have bid 65 million plus either 10 or 5. And they're being told no. And now Sporting wants 70 million euros and 10 in add-ons. Arsenal are saying no. Victor Gyokeres is now on strike. He will not return. He won't turn up today. He won't turn up tomorrow. This is what Fabrizio Romano said. He said, Victor Gyokeres will not show up in training at Sporting today, not tomorrow, not at any moment this summer. His decision is clear, as reported this week. He only wants Arsenal. It is over with Sporting. So Sporting are in this position where they can't negotiate. You cannot negotiate with a player who is telling you, swivel on it, I'm done, I'm gone. That is it. Game over. Right? So it's now more of a standoff between Gyokeres and Sporting than it is between Arsenal and Sporting. Arsenal are saying, look, we've gone as high as we're going to go. You have to sell him. It's kind of crazy. Hand of Arsenal tweeted. Let's go and see what Hand of Arsenal has said. What's he saying? Hand of Arsenal has said. He hasn't said anything. You've just baited me. He hasn't said anything at all. Unless he's replied to someone. He hasn't said anything. He hasn't said anything. Am I missing something here? No, I've just been trolled. So yeah, look, ultimately, Sporting are running out of road. Like Arsenal are standing firm. Victor Gyokeres is standing firm. Varandas is trying to save face. You got to deal with it, pal. You got to deal with it. And also, he's a scumbag. He's a scumbag. They told them that they'd do it for 60 million euros plus 10. Arsenal have now gone 5 million euros above that. Victor Gyokeres has agreed to give up 2 million euros in wages, and they're still saying no. Scumbag. Record Portugal also saying this today, by the way. Take it with a pinch of salt, because Record Portugal have been very poor when it comes to this deal. But according to them, Victor Gyokeres and his camp have rejected 3 separate inquiries from Manchester United. The player only wants Arsenal. So that's one of those things. That could just be good PR. But listen, am I going to tell Man United fans that he's rejected them 3 times because he doesn't want to go to their club and he wants to go to ours? Yes, I am. So that's where we're at. We'll talk about the Trossard extension. Sam C said the deal for Gyokeres is nearly done, 65 base. Well, that's the plan. 65 base was what it was always meant to be. Crystal Palace just qualified for Conference League. Does that mean Eze is going to be cheaper? We'll talk about that as well. We are going to talk about all of these things. Don't you worry. Look, by the way, for goodness sake, stop doing gentlemen's agreements. No one can be trusted in football. Get it on a piece of paper, sign it, and then you're safe. That is both strikers that we have gone for this summer, with stupid gentlemen's agreements that their clubs have gone back on, and it screwed us over. And we should learn from this, by the way. The next time we're in negotiations for a player, and then the player turns around and says, oh, it's all right, I've got a gentleman's agreement. If you come back next summer for this, we'll do it. No. Sign a pre-agreement. Put in an actual release clause. Do something. Because these people are liars. They're traitors. What do add-ons actually mean? So add-ons in a deal are things that you get for normally performance-based bonuses. So, as an example, Christian Norgard's deal to Arsenal is 10 million plus 2 million in add-ons. So we will absolutely pay Brentford 10 million. The 2 million in add-ons, that can be for various things. It could be if Arsenal win the Premier League. they get 2 million extra. It could be if Norgard makes 100 appearances for Arsenal. The add-ons can really be anything. So there have been some contracts where it's like if the player wins the Ballon d'Or, you pay add-ons. So generally speaking, you prefer to have a deal that's a lower fixed fee and lots of add-ons, because the add-ons normally mean that you've done well. So it'd be like if the Madueke deal had actually been 35 million plus 17 million in add-ons, and the add-ons were like 5 million if you win the Prem, 5 million if you win the Champions League, 5 million if you, I don't know, if Madueke scores 20 goals in a season, 2 million if, whatever. Because then you're like, okay, I might end up paying extra, but if I am going to pay extra, it's because we've done something that makes it worth it. So if I end up paying 52 million for Madueke, it's because we've won the Premier League and the Champions League and he scored 20 goals. So you'd rather that sort of a situation. But yeah. Sign an actual release clause? You mean like Morgan Gibbs-White? Well, the Gibbs-White situation is interesting. Because I didn't really know that was a thing, that certain players can have release clauses in their contract, but the release clause is secret. So no one's actually allowed to know it, but if it gets triggered by a bid, then the club have to let you go. That's a crazy situation that I didn't know existed, yeah. Did Kai Havertz's resurrection brought us trophies? Not yet, no, but that wasn't what you asked. So I saw City's going in for him. For who? Morgan Gibbs-White? Well, they might go back for it now. Thing is, now it's public knowledge that there is a 60 million release clause. So what happens now? Also, by the way, that whole situation is Edu versus Vinay, which is crazy. Forest are becoming a team that everyone hates. They cry about everything. They take legal action about everything. They've got in the Europa League when they shouldn't have done over Crystal Palace. Can't they just ask the player if they have a... Well, no, because I would imagine that both the player and the club agree that it's secret when they sign it. So someone has obviously leaked it to Tottenham and gone, look, come in with 60 mil and it's yours. What's Edu got on the grill? I don't know. They're buying lots of Brazilians now all of a sudden. Although those Brazilians are linked to Marinakis's multi-club ownership model. Anyway, look, moving on. Victor Gyokeres. By the way, Victor Gyokeres, I think we get the here we go within the next 2 days. To be honest with you, I think we get the here we go. One thing that I would say, David Ornstein doesn't normally report on the ins and outs of transfer sagas. Like, David Ornstein is normally... as an example, yesterday with Morgan Gibbs-White, it was David Ornstein tweeting, there's interest, oh, it's gone. So I think the fact that he has tweeted about Victor Gyokeres feeling betrayed and not turning up to pre-season, I think that's a sign that it is close. Max, thank you very much for the 249, says Spurs are actually shit at everything. I honestly think, I kind of don't blame them in this situation. You know what? Truthfully, when we bid 40 million and won for Luis Suarez and everyone mocked us for it, when we were completely in the right and Liverpool fundamentally broke the law to keep Luis Suarez, I kind of feel for Spurs on this one, as crazy as that is, in the sense that I don't necessarily think they've done anything wrong here. I think Forest have put a £60 million release clause in Morgan Gibbs-White's contract. It's been triggered, and suddenly they've gone, well, I wish we didn't put that in there now. Let's report it. I think it's pathetic. Josh, thank you very much for the $9.99. Says, do you think Noni will play left wing or right wing? Look, I'm going to make a separate video about what I think is the future of Noni Madueke at Arsenal. Fundamentally, both. There's no way we're spending... Well, I say there's no way. I hope there's no way we're spending 52 million solely on a Bukayo Saka backup. I think that would be crazy, which makes me think he's going to have to get minutes off the left-hand side. How does that look? I think it's quite interesting, but I will make a video on it. Matthew Allen, thank you very much for becoming a new member as well. Absolute legend. Welcome to the Rory Talks Football YouTube membership club. Sam C tweeted it's extremely close now with Gyokeres. Good. We will wait. Adrian, thank you for the 20 money as well. Who starts left wing if we sign Eze and Madueke? Like, arguably, Martinelli still. There's a world where you sign Madueke, Eze, and Martinelli still starts, at least at the start of the season. Now, I would like Eze off there. I think Eze's a different approach. You'd need an overlapping fullback, in my opinion, if it was Eze. The good thing, I suppose the good thing, right, is that Arteta has always said that he wants unpredictability. And if you can go into a game, right, where your opposition don't know if you're going to have Martinelli, like a touchline right-footed winger, or Eze, more of like a central attacking wide forward type thing, or you're going to have Madueke, a left-footed winger who's completely different. I do think that that's kind of what Arteta might be looking for. So in terms of one of them nailing it down, for me, Eze is by far and away the most talented player of those three. So it would be him. Ollie, thank you very much for the 20 sec as well. Zubamendi looks like... who's that? I don't know who that is. Adam Flayman. Who's that? Who is that? A film character? That's crazy. It's a character from B movie. It's a bumblebee. That's crazy. That's so not what I was expecting. That is crazy. iHeats, thank you very, very much for gifting a membership as well. If you've just been gifted a membership by iHeats, please do make sure to thank him in the chat. Absolute legend. I appreciate the support. That's crazy. I don't even, does he look like that? I kind of get, if he put on glasses, I do kind of get it. I actually kind of see it if he put on glasses. You just know if he drops a stinker now. If he drops a stinker now. Any news on Mosquera? Actually, no. No news on Mosquera at the moment, which is a little bit odd, given how quickly that had progressed. It is a little bit odd. Do you think going for Noni means no Rodrigo? I would be shocked at this point. Given that we're still in for Eze, I would be shocked if we somehow did Rodrigo as well, to be honest with you. Yeah, Mosquera has gone a bit too quiet, to be honest. I would say there's like a 2%, not even, a 2% chance that we did Madueke, Eze, Rodrigo, and Victor Gyokeres. I don't see it. Mosquera has returned to preseason training, apparently. He's not doing the Gyokeres. Mate, doesn't have the minerals. No, do you know what, right? I will actually say this. Generally speaking, I don't think it's a good trait to not turn up to training and stuff like that to force a move. Generally speaking. Because the thing is, if they do it to you, if they did it to get to you, they can do it to leave you as well, right? Not that I think Victor Gyokeres would. We've seen it with Daniel Munoz at the moment at Crystal Palace. Daniel Munoz went on strike to get a move to Crystal Palace. He's now basically doing the same again to get a move away from Crystal Palace, right? So, red flag. Unless, like Victor Gyokeres, you've literally been told 60 million euros plus 10 and you can leave, and then a club has bid more than that, and you've been willing to sacrifice your own money, and your club are still holding you hostage. That effectively, they are holding him hostage. So, in that sense, I don't think it's as big a red flag for Victor Gyokeres. Where's Munoz moving to? I don't even know. I just saw a thing today that he's, I think he's just like not turned up to training or something. Or he's still on holiday, maybe. To be honest, I didn't fully read it, but the gist of it was, I think I saw Ollie Talk CPFC mention it. But yeah, so that's where we're at. Moving on to Leandro Trossard. Leandro Trossard, the latest on him. So it came out last night from Gary Jacob that Arsenal are willing to let Leandro Trossard leave after he agreed personal terms with Fenerbahce. And the personal terms thing had come out from Turkey. So this kind of fell in line with it. The Turkish side have offered the Belgian a 3-year deal, but have not agreed a transfer fee, with Arsenal likely to want about £20 million. I'd be shocked if we get 20 mil. Fabrizio, that was last night. Fabrizio Romano this morning then came out and said Fenerbahce are not in concrete talks with Arsenal for Leandro Trossard, despite reports. Arsenal have not received any formal approach or bid from the Turkish club for Trossard so far. Hand of Arsenal then clarified the situation. He said, easy clarification here. Fenerbahce, like every club in the world, are exploring options and discussing terms with players. Arsenal were in contact with Chelsea over Noni for a long time before before direct contact was made and a formal offer was presented. It's standard occupational practice. Saudi clubs have agreed personal terms with numerous players, which never results in an official offer. Let's see if Fenerbahce's interest formalizes. So they've agreed the personal side of things with Trossard. Can they agree an actual bid with us? It then came out later this afternoon, but it was kind of old news. It was based on old news from Sami Mokbel, I believe, that Arsenal are still in conversation with Trossard over a new contract. So we'll wait and see how it goes. Nid said, congratulations on 20.5K. Get us to Fabio Vieira 21. There we go. 20,500 of you. Less than 500 away from 21,000. If you're here right now and you've not subscribed, please do so. It's free. Just click that big red button. And if you could click the like button whilst you're here, I'd appreciate that as well. Nearly 700 of you here. That's why Koscielny ruined his legacy, in my opinion, his strike. Yeah, 100%. Like, you would hope that the Sporting fans will see it from Viktor Gyokeres' perspective. Whether or not they will, who knows? Is Samsi a good source? Yeah, he actually is. Let me go and see exactly what Samsi said, because he is actually a good source. He was at the United stand previously. Yeah, he's just said that Gyokeres is close, I think. So yeah, we'll see. But I am expecting that to move quite quickly. Would you consider loaning Nwaneri to another Prem team if we sign Eze? Nah. No. Nwaneri is one of those players that's too good to be loaned. Because to give him the minutes in a team that would be good enough for him, he'd need to go to one of our rivals. That's the problem. I don't think Ethan Nwaneri benefits at this point in his career by going to a bottom half Premier League team. Just like Phil Foden didn't. The Sporting president has an election incoming. That's all he cares about. Yeah, exactly. It's all PR. He wants to turn around when it comes to this election and say, look, I could not have done anything more to get more money for Viktor Gyokeres. It's all optics. Moving on to Eze, the latest on Eze. Jacob Steinberg saying Arsenal are expected to ramp up their pursuit of Crystal Palace's Eberechi Eze, have been looking to add more depth on the flanks and have acted quickly after identifying Madueke as a key target. Fabrizio said on a YouTube live stream, I believe, at the moment, conversations are taking place between Arsenal and his agency. Arsenal want to strike a deal instead of triggering the release clause, but this will depend on Palace. Ryan Taylor said Arsenal now look poised to make a formal approach to Crystal Palace over Eze, who has a 68 million release clause, following several rounds of discussions with his representatives, CAA base. Palace are optimistic that they can fend off interest by pointing the Gunners towards the 27-year-old's buyout clause, as they have no desire to negotiate, below that figure. Arsenal's preference is to explore the possibility of landing Eze for cheaper, though they're still prepared to put significant cash on the table. So, it does sound like we still want him. It does sound like we don't want to do the release clause, which means there will have to be extensive negotiations. Obviously, if you do a release clause, bish, bash, bosh, done. We don't do that. So there will be extensive negotiations, and that could be as simple, possibly, as negotiating a different structure, like we did with Zubamendi, where we actually paid slightly over the release clause to get more favourable terms. The issue here is going to be what has happened to Crystal Palace this afternoon. Crystal Palace found out this afternoon that they have been demoted from the Europa League to the Conference League, which I think is an absolute disgrace. That will now go to the Court of Arbitration for Sport. That is where the appeal goes. That then becomes a whole other issue. They will seek to conclude that as quickly as possible. It is causing a wider range of problems than just negotiating for Eze. We actually don't know the televised fixture schedule because of this. So we were actually meant to already know in September the exact timings of all of our games because the TV schedule was meant to have already been done. They can't do it until they know exactly which competition Crystal Palace are going to be in. So it's a problem that I think across the board they want resolved as quickly as possible. But until it gets resolved, I don't think you can negotiate. So it could take a while. Ethan would grow at a place like Sunderland. I'm just not sure he would. I'm really not. I'd rather keep him at Arsenal. I'd rather continue to play him in the cup games. I'd rather continue to give him minutes off the bench. And I'd rather see him fight for his spot. In my opinion, personally. And especially because last season, Nwaneri's biggest struggle last season was load. It was the amount that he was playing. Like, he was struggling to play 90 minutes for sure. He was struggling to play twice a week. I don't think sending him to Sunderland, where he would be asked to play 90 minutes a week and do an awful lot of running because they are not going to have a huge amount of possession, I don't think that would benefit him. And to play a lower level of football. Why is Eze taking long? Because Crystal Palace don't know if they're going to be in the Europa League or not. Today, they found out they've been demoted from the Europa League to the Conference League. They're now going to appeal that. Until they know the outcome of that, they can't negotiate for their most expensive player. In the same way, they're not negotiating for Mark Gahey at the moment. We know for a fact Liverpool want Mark Gahey, but they're not negotiating right now because of this situation. UEL and UECL play on the same nights, Thursdays. Yeah, it's to do with... I can't remember what it's to do with. I saw someone explain it, because you're right. That was the exact same thing that I thought of. I can't remember the reason, but there is a reason, I think. Nwaneri learning off Eze and Ødegaard. He seems to be a mix of the two anyways. Actually, no, maybe, Ross. Maybe, thinking about it, until today, they didn't know if the outcome would be that they might be out of Europe altogether. Maybe that's the reason. Because it could have been today that not only were they demoted from the Europa League, but they also weren't even put into the Conference League. I think that was still an option. So maybe if that had obviously been the case, Palace wouldn't have been playing Thursday nights, so they could have played on Saturdays. Whereas obviously if they're playing Thursday nights, they have to play Sundays. I think that probably makes more sense, actually, thinking about it. Does everyone understand that it's not Arteta's call if we sign a striker? I'm positive he's pushing Berta as hard as he can to get this done. Oh, he is. He is. I'm certain Arteta has pivoted already from Sesko to Victor Gyokeres to get the deal done. From my understanding, was like he had set himself on Sesko. We heard that whole thing that it was, Berta's preference was Victor Gyokeres, Arteta's was Sesko. But Arteta's most important thing has been, I want the striker before we go on tour. Like, that's his big thing. So to suggest that if we don't get a striker, it's on Arteta. Like, this is the thing, though. You've got to understand there's a lot of people who are just against Arteta. And no matter what he does from here on out, everything will be wrong. They'll criticize everything. Everything's his fault. That's just how it is for some people, Just watched a Noni highlight video. Yes, to Madueke. Look, I think there's talent there. There is raw athleticism. There is an ability to score goals out of nowhere. There's also questions about consistency, reliability. It's tough. It's tough. Kala and Eze could cook for us on the left. I don't disagree. That is something that I feel could be a good partnership. I don't disagree at all. Arteta wants Sesko, so Havertz can still play at number 9. That doesn't make sense, though. See, this is what I mean. This is one of these random conspiracies that people come up with. Oh, yeah, actually, Actually, Arteta wants to lose and he wants to sign a bad player so that he can stick with Kai Havertz. Because if he signed Sesko for 80 million, there would definitely be no scrutiny around playing Sesko at 9. Because that, like, these look, ultimately, it's the sort of people that think the earth is flat. Like, realistically, these are the sorts of people we're talking about. But Pete, thank you very much for the 199. Honestly, Eze, Rodrigo, and Sesko are now history. I don't think Eze's history. Rodrigo and Sesko, I think you're probably right. Everything points towards the fact that we're still very keen on Eze. I'd be very surprised if Madueke ended up being the only wide player that we signed, to be honest with you. Very surprised. Who do you reckon Rodrigo goes to, if not us? I worry about Liverpool. I do worry about Liverpool. If they sell Luis Diaz, they'll need to go big on a left winger. So I do worry about that. Tom L, welcome. Good to see you. Joao Felix next? I hope not. Or Malo Gusto, he's another one that Chelsea will probably try and sell. Nah, we can't go for another Chelsea player. I mean, like, fundamentally, it is strange. If you actually look, the attacking signings that we've made under Arteta, right? We've made 7 of them. If you include loans, you include Marquinhos. 7 players. 4 of them, Chelsea. 6 of them, Premier League. The only one that wasn't Prem was Marquinhos. Someone just said, what's Madueke's injury history? That's a good point. I don't think his injury history is bad. I don't think it's bad. He is quite not unique, but he is a little bit different in the sense that he's 6 foot. So his injury, it's not great. It's not great. His injury history. Last season, he had a hamstring injury, put him out for 48 days. Season before that, nothing really. He was ill for 4 days. 23-24, couple of little muscle injuries. 21-22 was really bad for him. 21-22, he had four muscle injuries, where he missed a lot of games in total. Tom, thank you very, very much for becoming a member. Welcome to the RoryTalksFootball YouTube membership club. Enjoy the green name. In the future, enjoy the emojis that the members are going to have access to. But for now, thank you very much for the support. I do appreciate it. Used to be worse at PSV, but he's gotten a little bit better at Chelsea. Hopefully that continues then. Nonny Greenery. To be fair, the greenery is basically not bad. Dribbling, very good. Shooting, not bad at all. That's kind of it. The greenery is going to go into a video, to be fair. Rory, I think Arteta wants project players because it's less pressure to win than if he gets win now signings, in my opinion. I can't lie, I don't see Arteta lasting the season. KSC just happy for UCL money. Are you KSC out? I fundamentally disagree. Was Declan Rice not the most win now signing possible? Like, you have to understand as well, by the way, Arteta may want win now players. The club may want players that are going to hold value. So Arteta wanted Ollie Watkins in January for like 60 mil. That would have been as win now as you can get, even within that season. But he was told no. So I disagree with it, to be honest with you. And genuinely, a lot of people would say that Victor Gyokeres is as much of a risk as Benjamin Sesko in terms of translating to the Prem. So yeah, I don't know. I disagree personally. Carrington, thank you very much for the $4.99 top 4 prediction as things stand, but assuming we get our targets. Thank you very much for the $4.99 top 4 prediction for me. Well, I certainly think the 4 will be Liverpool, City, Chelsea, Arsenal. I actually think that was the top 4 last season, and all of them we've all invested big. So I think that will be the top 4. In terms of order, I think Liverpool have to be favourites. I think they won the league last season. They've done 3 big bits of business already. They could still do more. I think Liverpool have to be the favourites. Annoyingly, that means I think Arsenal come second. City third. I don't think City will be as good as people think. And then Chelsea fourth. That would be my prediction. Marca reporting that Rodrigo wants to stay and fight for his place. Yeah, we read a report yesterday that said he wants to fight for his place. He's an idiot if he does. Like, truthfully, he's an idiot. If he stays and tries to fight for his place, he won't be at the World Cup next summer. Promise you. Right now, he is the fourth choice right winger in that squad. He will not play at the World Cup if he stays. Marca are full of it? Yeah, they are full of it. They are full of it. Who needs Rodrigo with Madueke? We need him. That's why I'm asking about if you're KSE out. Because either Arteta or KSE are the ones holding us up by signing Chelsea scrubs. I mean, yeah, I would get rid of I'd get rid of the Kroenkes before I got rid of Arteta. If you gave Arteta the backing that Chelsea are giving, or City, or even Liverpool, then I think the issue is this. You could get rid of KSE and it get worse. Like, they have invested money. I don't think they care about winning. Truthfully, I don't think the Kroenkes care if we win or not. If we're in the Champions League and we're competing for titles, I think they'll be happy from a business perspective. Would I get rid of them? Only if you were guaranteed to bring in someone that was going to fight for trophies. It can go worse. You know, you look at United. United. Okay, they didn't get rid of the Glazers. They brought in Sir Jim Ratcliffe. It's got worse for them. So, unless you could guarantee who it was going to, I don't think you'd do it. Rory, I'm so confused. What changed with Rodrigo, which now makes it unattainable, which makes it not attainable now? I just think the amount we've spent on Madueke, to be honest. The amount we spent on Madueke, I just think, and given that it sounds like we're far more into Eze, I just think, like, realistically, if you start breaking it down, I just think it gets into the realms of, like, Arsenal don't spend that in a window. Like, 60 million for Zubimendi, 10 million for Norgard, so that's 70. Kepa, 75. If we do Mosquera for, call it 15, that's 90. Madueke at 50, that's 140. Eze at 60, that's 200. Victor Gyokeres at 70. That's 270. If you start throwing in Rodrigo on top of that, who's going to be more like 80, like, you're pushing 350 mil. I just don't see that happening. Even 270 would be a huge window for us. To do 350 when we're not going to generate much in sales either. Like you're probably looking at maximum 15 for Trossard, 15 for Zinni, like 10 for Reece, 5 for Sambi Lokonga, maybe like 20 for Fabio Vieira. You do well to get 70 or 80 million back. We're not putting out a net spend of over 250 million. Don't get me wrong. Maybe something has changed. Maybe a miracle happens. I wish I could see it. I struggle to see it. We've never generated much in sales. No, the only way you could do it would be if we sold Martinelli big. That's the only way I could see it. Martinelli would be raw profit. He's on 200 grand a week. So if you sold Martinelli, freed up 200 grand a week, that's the only world in which I see it happening. And more recently, any links to Martinelli have dried up. Saudi, Bayern, those links don't really exist anymore. So I just don't see it. Have you seen Ollie's TikTok on Madueke? Yeah, Ollie loves Madueke, to be fair. Even before Madueke joined Arsenal, Ollie loved him. By the way, there will be people now doing a full 180. I tell you what, Invert the Wing. You know Invert the Wing on Twitter that loves to hate Arsenal, loves Spurs. Go back through his tweets of Madueke. Dozens of tweets about how good Madueke is, including tweets recently this year about how good and how high Madueke's ceiling is off the left-hand side. So people will do 180s now. There are people that rate him. Stop gassing him up. I'm not gassing him up. That's not me gassing him up. I'm literally saying other people have gassed him up, but they'll now do a 180. I've always made my opinion clear, and that opinion stays. I will now support him. But what I'm saying is there are other people that have previously gassed him up that will now go against it. Do you think a Trossard contract extension means we sign no other wingers? No, because we still need one more anyway. You've got to think, we've lost Raheem Sterling. We have to plan for the fact that Gabriel Jesus is not fit, and we don't know how he's going to come back. So I still think you need two, even if you didn't sell Trossard. I'm going to stay positive about Noni. Yeah, me too. Me too. A lot of these deals have been done on favourable payment terms. Does that not change anything? I mean, yeah, it does. But, I mean, that might be the difference between you getting Eze and not Eze, not the difference between you getting Eze and Rodrigo. Look, I'd love to be positive. I'd love to sit here and be like, we've got a 350 million war chest and we're going to go and do it all. I believe it when I see it. I believe it when I see it, right? We've not seen it before. And Arteta has had to fight for money at every single turn, Like, even when we did Declan Rice, Edu and Arteta literally had to fly out to America and almost beg the Cronkies to let us spend over 100 million on Declan Rice. They didn't want to go above 80. So, yeah, I just struggled to see it. Arteta is either incredibly smart or incredibly stupid regarding Madueke. The thing is, if he just turns out to be a good right winger that can play off the left, like, how bad is that? For 50 mil, probably a bit underwhelming, but in a world where Elanga is 50 mil, And I'll tell you what, if Bukayo Saka gets another big injury this season, God praying he doesn't, but if he does, suddenly that Madueke signing looks a huge amount more valuable. You just never know. Equally, if Madueke was only brought in as a Saka backup and Saka has a fully fit season, he probably won't get played anywhere near enough for it to be worthwhile. So, yeah, it's difficult. Do we have any other winger targets other than Eze and Rodrigo? I mean, I'm sure we do. Anthony Gordon's one that Ornstein has floated a lot, so maybe he's still on the radar. Adamola Lookman was one that was definitely became on the radar, but Atalanta at the moment want too much for him. So I'm sure there are other ones available. I'm sure there are. Anyway, look, that is going to be the end of the stream. We will have a quiz question coming up, but if you don't want to stick around for that, I hope you have a fantastic weekend. It is a Friday evening. Of course, we will be alert for the Victor Gyokeres bomber. If that goes off, we will be live. There will probably be a video tomorrow about Noni Madueke, and there might be a live stream as well, depending on what I'm up to. But of course, it is the weekend. If you could like and subscribe before you jump off, I'd be incredibly grateful. As always, the support on this stream has been sensational. And for those of you staying for the quiz question, get your fingers on your keyboards, because the first person to get it right in the chat wins the immense pride and respect of the Rory Talks Football community. Let's go for this one. Here we go. This will do. Da, 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 da. At which Swedish club did Freddie Ljungberg make his debut? At which Swedish club did Freddie Ljungberg make his debut? Once one person has got it right, I will give you the. I don't think anyone's got it right. There you go. One person's got it right. Here we go. So the options are A, Malmo, B, Halmstad, C, AIK. Malmo, Halmstad, AIK, the winner. And I want to double. By the way, yesterday, Ross Lawman thinks he was actually first yesterday and that I got it wrong. So if that was the case, I've got to apologize to him for yesterday. Let me just double check. Someone said Hammarby. Hammarby was close, but no cigar, because the correct answer was Halmstad, and Gustav Jakobsson is the winner. Is that a Swedish name? Did he have the advantage here? I don't know. Maybe that's just me stereotyping. But Halmstad is the correct answer. Gustav Jakobsen has won it. Second was Mr. Third was Jakob Dobbo. Fourth was David Buckingham. And fifth was VV Vlad. So there we go. Goal given. VV Vlad has given the goal. Absolutely sensational. It is a Swedish name. It is a Swedish name. Yes. Yes. Go and get on the phone to Victor Gyokeres now. Tell him to come. There you go. VAR, goal given. Gustav Jakobsen's the winner. You'll love to see it. Spurs signings are quite scary. Well, they've only got one. So, unlucky. No, they are. They were two good signings. Bring back Guess the Gooner and Twitch. Look, Guess the Gooner might come back one day, but we did do them all twice. So, and Twitch will, I'll be honest, it's too hot for Twitch again, but we will be back with Twitch soon. I just need a new game. Give me a new game. Anyway, look, that is going to be the end of the stream. I do massively appreciate all of you for joining. Enjoy the evening, enjoy the weekend, and I will catch you all on the next one. Until then, goodbye. Doo-doo.